Hi, everybody. So yesterday at the university clinic, we were working with one of the residents. Shout out to Dr. Butler. And the case situation was a patient with a full upper denture, and she had a sore spot initially on the posterior palatal seal region, and it was adjusted. And ever since it was adjusted, she had loss of suction. So, a couple of things. So, when a patient comes in and they have an existing upper denture and they don't have suction, the denture is fairly new, for example. A couple of things I check first. The first and foremost, I will take some extra live viscosity impression material and I'll do like a little fit checking with it to see if there's any overextensions, because that's the easiest thing to do, right? And the second thing I'll do is I will take my composite and I'll try to build up the posterior palatal seal area to see if that will solve the problem. Now, these two things won't solve the problem, then we go towards doing like a soft tissue conditioner and seeing if the suction will come back with soft tissue conditioner. And if it does, then we'll do a hard reline. So for this particular case, this is just a demo case. It's a printed one. So this will work on printed dentures as well as regular dentures. And the protocol should be the same. Um, Basically, what I did is I actually did a similar thing. I adjusted the posterior palatal ciliary area here to making it flat. Um, Before applying composite, I recommend you roughen it up somehow. In our case, what we did is we just sandblasted it. And then I'll take a little bit of composite primer. In this case, I'm using a GC composite primer, and just a little bit on here just to wet the area. Okay, and just spread it all the way around, all the way over the surface where you're going to be adding the posterior palatal seal. Okay, and then I'll light cure it. Now I'm going to use a wand on this one because I don't want to put this in a curing unit, and this is just for demo purposes. So I'll just do it for one cycle. But if you're doing a clinic and you're using the wand, you probably want to use, if it's 20-second cycles, you probably want to use 3 cycles, because I generally put it in my Label Duo for about a minute to get this activated. So basically what the primer does, it creates the layer of inhibition, the sticky layer, which will allow for my composites to bond to either acrylic or to printed resin. Now I'm using Flowable right here. You can use Flowable or you can use paste. I like to use Flowable because it's just a little bit easier to work with. You don't need a lot, and Flowable is a little bit easier to spread. And this is probably too much, but you can always also reduce it. And you can actually use primer as well, kind of like a modeling liquid a little bit, if you wanted to. So what I'm doing here is I'm just spreading it around, just so I can build up that seal area. I'm going to spread it forward just a little bit more. Almost doing like a little bit of butterfly. Just like this. And if you got some thicker areas in it that you think they're going to be too thick, you can always spread it forward a little bit, like I'm doing right here. This is not going to be your prettiest posterior I can't talk, palatal seal, but it will be functional for sure. Okay, and you do it somewhat like this. Okay. If you let it sit there for a while, it'll kind of smooth out on its own. Right here, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to create that butterfly with it. Now, obviously, if you're going to do it in direct light, like I'm doing here, it'll set up a lot faster on you. So if you're doing it in the clinic, for example, and you got your uh, chairside lights, you want to maybe not put direct light on these because it will cure on you. So something like this will give you that posterior palatal seal on it, and then you just cure that as well. So that takes about a minute to cure. Also maybe a minute and a half with a handheld unit. But since we're doing it just for the demo purposes, I'm just going to do 20 seconds. Okay, so at this point, it's probably all cured for you. So at this point, your composite will still have that sticky layer on top of it, and you can't just deliver it that way. So two things you can do. If you want to adjust it, simply, oops, sorry, bump my camera here. Simply using a little bit of these adjusting wheels, it'll actually just shave the top layer off and get rid of that sticky layer for you. Okay. Um, you can cure this in nitrogen, and it will get rid of the sticky layer for you. But what you can also do is use some air barrier gel, putting that on there and curing it, and that will get rid of the sticky layer as well. Most of the time, I generally don't have such good results as I have right here, and I end up smoothing stuff out a little bit. So by smoothing it out, it'll get rid of that sticky layer and everything else, and then you get your posterior palatal seal. And then you try that in, and if it creates a good seal, then you're good to go. And if it doesn't, then I'll grind that down again, and then we'll do a little wash impression with some tissue conditioner, have that patient wear that for a while and for up to 2 weeks, and then we'll just do a hard reline from there. Okay, hope it helps. Bye.